Good morning. Day 47 of hiking the Appalachian Trail in 100 days. Just a few miles in this morning. Headed into Duncannon, Pennsylvania with the mission of making it there around 10 o'clock, which I think is feasible, so that I can get some breakfast at a restaurant. So, nice views out over the valley where the power lines are here. Just enjoying this cool morning. Slept pretty well last night, so that was good. And off to a good start today. Nice view here over the river, and I think that bridge there we're gonna cross and then go to the left into Duncannon. I think I have 2 or 3 miles till I get to that bridge, because it's a lot of downhill, so there's some kind of switchbacks and zigzags back and forth. And then once I get to the bridge, it's like 2 more miles to the breakfast place. Made it down the hill, across some railroad tracks, and now walking across this bridge across the Susquehanna River. Pretty wide river, actually. I think this goes down into Harrisburg. I don't know how far away that is, but certainly a number of miles. But pretty nice day today. The sun's out. I think it's gonna be a hotter one, if I had to guess. But once I get into town, it's only like 5-ish miles after that to the shelter I was planning to stay at, so might just do that, hang out in town for a while, then do that, or might go on a little bit further, we'll see. Walking down the streets in Duncannon now, and a lot of small towns I've been through have these posters up for military veterans from their town that they're honoring and remembering, and I think that's really cool. Just cool in general that lots of towns, have these signs up and make sure we remember those who are protecting us and allowing us to do what we want each and every day. Made it through Duncannon and back on the trail in some shade, or mostly shade, which is nice. Definitely hotter today. Not feeling super great right now, because when I got into town, when I got to the south end of town at least, where there's a couple restaurants and a hostel, I stopped there at this hostel, kind of outdoorsy, and they have resupply, so I was gonna get resupply there. And I put my pack down and went across the street to the breakfast restaurant I've been talking about. It was called Goody's Restaurant, and I got an amazing breakfast. It was like $10 for 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, piece of sausage, and 2 pieces of toast. And then I was like, oh, let's throw on a side of 2 more eggs. So they added a side of 2 eggs and 2 pieces of toast. And I took a picture, and man, those pancakes were ginormous. I definitely did not need those 2 extra eggs. And I was pretty full after eating all of it. And then I went over to the hostel and got my resupply, but honestly, they didn't have a ton of stuff there. So I couldn't believe it. They didn't have like big jars of peanut butter. They just had like little squeeze packets, and then little like 1 or 2 ounce like single, like 1 or 2 serving packages. And then they also didn't have pepperoni. So I bought the stuff that they did have that I wanted and continued on the AT for about 1/4 mile. And then I went about 2/3 of a mile down another road to a Dollar General, and they had peanut butter and pepperoni like I was looking for, so I got that. And then today's National Ice Cream Day, so I got some ice cream. It wasn't a full pint, it was only 14 ounces, but that definitely worked in my favor because I was still kind of full from the breakfast. But I was like, oh, with my reputation, I absolutely have to have some ice cream today. And I wasn't really gonna have another opportunity, so I ate the ice cream and was feeling pretty full, and took a few minutes after that to get ready to go, and then walked back down the road to the trail, or at least to the AT. It's not really a trail, it's just walk along the road there. But got back on the AT. Just my stomach is still feeling full, but I'll survive. Have less than 3 miles now. It's not even 1 o'clock to the shelter I was planning to stay at. And so I feel like I'd be kind of a bum if I just stayed there all afternoon and did nothing. But also right now I don't feel so great, so kind of want to do that. But I'll most likely go on to the next shelter, which is like 6 or 7 miles further, and I should be able to get there by like 5 o'clock, so that won't be too bad at all. Quite an awesome view here from Hawk Rock out over the valley, and down there is the Susquehanna River that we passed this morning, or crossed over, and then you can see down into the town of Duncannon there. Feeling a little bit better now. Passed 2 people on my way up that were both said they through hiked in the past, so that was cool chatting with them a little bit. So I passed the Cove Mountain shelter about 2 miles back, 2 hours back rather, which was my original plan of where to stay tonight. And I just stopped for an impromptu break, actually, at a stream. The shelter I'm now going to, Darlington Shelter, it says there's on the map on Far Out that there's a spring down the hill from the campsite, and I think there's water there, but usually there's lots of comments on Far Out about like how good the water is, if it's like flowing well or flowing slowly or totally dry. And there's not really any recent comments within the last week or so. And then there was a sign at the stream that I just crossed that said, oh, unreliable water at Darlington Shelter, fill up here. So I decided to just stop and have my dinner there, my 2 ramens, and I filtered water, filled up my 2 water bottles, and then filled up my bladders. So I'm again at like 4.5 liters of water almost. And the shelter is about 3.5 miles away, and it's just almost 4 o'clock, so it'll be after 5 before I get there, probably around 5:15, 5:30, but I won't really have to do much with water, and I won't have to cook dinner, so that's still a pretty good time. There was another guy at the stream, I think he said his name was Varun. He didn't have a trail name. He's just doing a weekend hike, and he said he's done various sections for just weekends or a week even throughout Pennsylvania and Virginia. And then there was another guy, he said his name, but I didn't really hear it, to be honest. And he started like at Springer, is going north. He started around April, like the second week of April, and he's worried about getting to Katahdin before it closes. And honestly, I think he should be worried, because he said he's started at like 170 pounds and has lost like 30 or 40 pounds. And this guy's like almost as tall as me, I'd say, like 6 foot, around there. So 130 is pretty skinny. And I don't know, he said he's just like hasn't had much appetite and hasn't been eating a whole lot, so that's not a good place to be. And he hasn't been doing like all that big days, like 15s, in that range. So I wish him the best of luck, but at least right now I don't think it's looking super great for him. So I got here around 5:15 and just been hanging out, set up the tent, ate the rest of my snacks and food for the day, and still feeling pretty full from just the volume of food I've eaten today with that breakfast and then ice cream. But want to make sure I'm getting pretty much all of my planned food in, just so I am getting enough food, because I know, at least I think, if I'm just eating the planned food I have, then I'm probably going to be losing weight. So having these extra meals in town is kind of required, I think, to help me maintain my weight. And so if I have these extra meals in town and then don't end up eating all of my planned food, then it's not really all that extra, if that makes sense. So did pretty much everything I need to do for the night, and had a pretty good day. Went significantly further, 22.3 miles than I really had planned, so that makes tomorrow less than 20 now, and I'll probably end up going a little bit further just because I don't want to be sitting around all day. So at some point I'm going to have an easy day, which is going to be less than 10 miles, and that's going to be in a few days for something exciting, which you guys will see about in like 5 days, I think. Good day. Was definitely feeling full this afternoon, but 22.3 miles is solid, given that I was stopped for a while throughout the day, and I ended at mile 1058.5 at the Darlington shelter. And not much else to say. It was a little bit hotter today, but I certainly survived. I was thinking about what that guy at the stream was saying about losing weight, and then the fact that he's not sure if he's going to get to Katahdin. I mean, I feel like I probably am not going to see many more Nobos, because unless they, are going as fast as me at this point, if they started in like mid-April, they're going to have a hard time getting to Katahdin. So unless they started in like May or early June, they're probably not going to make it. So probably not going to see a whole lot more after the next week or so, I would guess. And if I do, they're probably, like I said, not going to make it to Katahdin. I'm sure there'll be plenty of section hikers and day hikers and all that stuff, but maybe might not be seeing as many true through hikers on the trail over the next few weeks and beyond.